Okay, I've got an 800 gram batch of dough here. It's at the end of bulk fermentation. It's doubled in size. We're gonna divide it. We're gonna shape it into 2 ovals, Batards, and we're gonna use a double envelope fold to shape these. Okay, here we go. Flour, maybe a tablespoon of flour here, and just to lightly coat our surface. And then our dough is going onto my work surface. I'm using gravity to turn it out. I'm probably gonna overlay a video of when I did this a different time because I don't have 2 cameras set up right now. This is really about the shaping technique versus anything else. So here is my nice full pillowy 800 gram batch of dough. I'm gonna eyeball it to divide it. We could take a total weight, we could figure out what half of that total weight is and use a scale, and nah, not today. Keep this simple, make it easy. It's about how we shape it. All the other information is more in depth in the whole playlist of Sourdough Batard Oval videos. So if you want to check that out, link in the description. Let's see, are they close? Feels like that one might be a little bigger. Okay, if you have watched this shaping video in the Sourdough Batard playlist, I do a single envelope fold. Really simple. It's like more geared towards maybe it's the first time you're doing this. But I want to create a little bit more tension. I'm going to use a double envelope or a double 12 to 6 fold. So think of this as my 12 o'clock side, 6 o'clock, 12, 6. I'm going to take the 12 o'clock side and I'm going to pull it to the middle. And then I'm going to take the 6 o'clock side, I'm going to pull it over the 12. And you know, my dough is tacky on this side, so it sticks to itself. You know, we used really light flour. So now I just rotate it at 90 degrees and I have a new 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So I'm going to take my 12 o'clock, I'm going to bring it to my middle. I'm going to take my 6 o'clock, I'm going to bring it over the 12 o'clock. And I'm creating a seam here that I'm going to lay the dough on top of. Because I'm going to use the weight of the dough to kind of seal that seam shut. I'm using my fingers to kind of gather dough underneath. Turn it around just so you can see the other end. Same thing. Tuck it under, gather it up, create some tension. And this is just like the stretch and fold technique that we used when we made the dough. And if you look in the sourdough sandwich loaf or sandwich bread, the sourdough round, sourdough oval, Batard, in those playlists, in the shaping, in the stretching and folding process of the dough, making the dough, we're essentially taking the dough out of the container, out of the bowl, and there will be one side that's hanging, and we tuck, like say the left side under, and then we tuck the right side under. We make a 90-degree turn, and we tuck, and we tuck, and we make a 90-degree turn. I just did that. It's just upside down now. And it creates like a good amount of tension here. Because just like when you were shaping, I'm shaping now. Just like when you were stretching and folding and trying to create tension in the dough, that is the same thing we're trying to do here in the shaping process. We're trying to create tension in the dough so it's pulling on itself to develop a little bit more elasticity and make it kind of fight with itself. Here we go. Same thing. 12 o'clock to the middle, 6 o'clock, and I'm giving it like a little bit of a pull over the 12 o'clock. 90-degree turn, and then same thing, we're bringing the 12, and I'm kind of trying to pull some of this sticky dough out to get it to the middle so it sticks to itself, and then the 6 o'clock over that 12 o'clock side. So it's 2 envelope folds from 12 to 6 and then 12 to 6. I'll turn this around too so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. And there's no additional flour here. I haven't added anything to my work surface. There might have been like a little bit left behind. I was doing a different project before this. And looks like I got them pretty equal. I eyeballed it pretty good. There's one thing that I feel on this one that I don't like though. And it's this giant, there's like a giant air pocket right here, which if I leave it, it's gonna create like kind of a negative space as it compresses into the basket when we load it right now. And then it's going to kind of end up being kind of a flat spot when we pop it out of the basket. Because you remember, this is our presentation side. Our presentation side is going to go down in our banneton. So when we bake tomorrow and we pop it out, our presentation side will be face up again. So maybe you can kind of see it. Maybe I'll try and zoom in on it, but that's got to go. So adios, air bubble. And you can really see it deflate there. I'm cool with like having as much air inside your dough, but as soon as it's on the surface, it's trouble. Let's see, it looks like do I have one right here? Kind of looks like I do. A little one. And we just want to make a small hole, but I also am not afraid to make it like big enough that it doesn't reinflate, because sometimes they'll like seal themselves shut and then pop a fresh bubble up or reinflate the previous bubble. Something like that. Not too worried about like a little one like that, but I'll get rid of it anyway because I've got the knife out. Okay, so simple process, right? 12 to 6, 6 to 12, 90-degree turn, 12 to 6, 6 to 12. And then I'm kind of talking and they're sitting here and their weight is kind of applying pressure to the seams that we've created underneath them, which is helping them to seal. So now we can go rice flour. I like rice flour. I know this is about shaping, but rice flour makes it so our dough can go into the bare banneton without sticking. It's going to pop out super easy. Rice flour is the only flour to really do this nicely with. Bread flour, it does not work out the same. It's usually the bread flour, it ends up sticky. It can be really difficult to get the dough out of the banneton in the morning or whenever you bake 8 to 48 hours from now. And I prefer not to use a liner. These that the banneton comes with don't allow it to sit real deep against the surface of the banneton. So it doesn't really have like a really nice formed shape. And then, you know, you could use a handkerchief. Actually, I don't mind using a handkerchief, like a nice thin 99-cent handkerchief. So you can see kind of how our seams have, you know, they're kind of pulling apart. That's okay. We can give them a little pinch. The basket's going to support it, so I'm not too worried about it. And then, probably not even in the shot there, I'm using my fingers just to kind of bring some of this rice flour up to the sides. I want to coat everything that is going to be in contact with the basket with rice flour. And I'm going to take just a little bit and sprinkle some in the basket. You don't need to go crazy with the rice flour. Rice flour is pretty awesome because it brushes off real nice, so you don't even end up with like much of a floury coating on your finished bread. So this might pull apart against itself, but the basket's not going to let it really go anywhere. Okay, number 2. You could use a bench scraper if you're, you know, more comfortable like releasing it off your work surface with a bench scraper. I feel pretty comfortable using my hands, but you know, whatever feels safe and appropriate or something. And same thing here. I'm just trying to coat the sides of the dough that are going to be in contact with the basket with a healthy amount of rice flour. And then here we go. Number 2 in the basket. All right, so we've got 2 bannetons with dough in it. And you can see right now it's kind of below the rim of the basket. These are probably going to proof up just a little bit. I like to use these liners as covers. It provides good kind of drying out and airflow. And that's also why I like to go in direct contact with the basket. I feel like it lets my dough dry out more than with a liner. And it forms a good skin, which makes it easier to score. And then it also makes for a thicker crust. And these are, you know, ovals, batards. That's the point. I want like a thick, rustic crust. If I wanted a thinner crust, I'd make like a sandwich loaf. Anyway, these are going in the fridge. We'll catch up tomorrow. Tomorrow? Yep, tomorrow. And because these are going to be gifted to some friends, and we'll score them. We'll go through scoring, so we can kind of, you know, see how that works too. So you'll end up seeing what these look like in some kind of sourdough scoring video.